Hey, Marie, back with another video. It's May 6th, it's 4:25 p.m., and it is getting later on in the day. So I did some running around today, and I'm still avoiding like over ramps, freeways, and stuff like that. So I went the long way that I had to go somewhere to I had to pick up my sewing machine today. Got repaired. And so instead of like going over this like little over ramp or whatever, it's for whatever reason, every time I go over those things, I tend to go into these anxiety attacks because I think it reminds me too much of a freeway or something. So I'll just like try to avoid it as much as I possibly can. So I took the long way home, which was a little tedious, but it got me here. So I'm trying to avoid as much stressful situations as I possibly can. And as everyone knows, that I've been dealing with this sort of frustration for very many years. And I've decided to work on mental exercises, which have been helpful. Like I went into an anxiety attack like 2 days ago in my bedroom. And I did this like self-talk, okay, to kind of talk myself out of it and then visualize certain things to calm me down. So that helped me a lot. They don't happen all the time, but they happen from time to time, because when I think about what people did in order to put me in this situation, and their hateful behavior and their aggressive behavior and their thoughtless, just absolutely no regard for who I am as a person, then this is what it's like. If they're willing to do this, then they're, to me, as good as a murderer, right? So I don't feel comfortable with what these people did at all, okay, at all. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and so it's caused me a lot of anxiety and depression, and I'm very sorry that I had to find out, but in some ways it's the only way I could figure out what was going on in my life, and I'm glad that I do know. I will say that it's important for me to disassociate them in my mind. Like I don't want to think about them or have any thoughts or memories of them, but it's just like when I start putting the pieces together, then that's when it starts to fester up. And so I better not be behind the wheel when I'm thinking about this sort of stuff, because then God knows what will happen, because then I start getting all nervous and just tense, and it's really bad. Okay, so seriously, that's really, it's a lot on me. It really is. So anyway, I've been thinking, because there's certain reasons why people get caught in the net of targeting. Okay, like I mentioned, oftentimes it could be because people are trying to force you to stay married, which they tried to do, which disturbed me profoundly. I mean, that's another issue that really sent me over the edge, because that terrified me to no end. Okay, because somebody who would manipulate your employment, know that you're going through that, and not say anything about it, and the whole thing was just extremely traumatizing, and it was horrible. Also, I'm looking for a job still, and I don't want to I want to work. Okay, like I just want to work. I don't want to work in environments where the environment is toxic. Okay, and I think about all the years that I've devoted to going to work and have nothing to show for it. Like I've been working in doing accounting for 23 years, 1987, somewhere around there. And I shouldn't be in this situation. Like I can't even, and every year, every job that I've had, I've dealt with this outside intrusion and these issues that get brought up in the workplace that should not be brought up in the workplace. Okay, and I understand, like my I don't want to say my ex-family, the people who got involved in this, but they are a part of that. I understand they have their way of life and they see things a certain way, but I don't see it that way. Okay, I understand they have, I'm surprised that they even have religious views, because that was never shared to me. Obviously, I told you before, we weren't raised in any particular religion, but all these little things that were suddenly brought up all of a sudden, and this is upsetting to me, because my job was something that was important to me, okay, because I knew that this was the only thing that I had in order to take care of myself. The only way I was going to retire was to be able to work myself up into decent positions, which, I mean, a lot of people don't have that now, okay? But still, I should be in a position where I could easily find jobs without all of this drama, right? So they are picking me apart. They're talking about my clothes, my hobbies. This is who I am, okay? And I understand there's been like severe bullying tactics to try to make me separate from the person that I am, which is a form of genocide, okay? Because obviously you are trying to make a person live a life that is so completely different from what's natural to them that their life is absolutely miserable. And many people do commit suicide, okay? It is a terrible thing for another person to do. So I can't even understand how orchestrated the bullying has been. And when I think about, you know, how I never asked for these people to come in, to give me their input, to help me find a job, to do any of these sort of things, and then all of this was created outside of myself, you know, I get angry. You know what I mean? I get very angry because I don't deserve this. I shouldn't be, you know, getting up in the middle of the night, having anxiety attacks, you know, full-blown anxiety attacks, depression, worry. I shouldn't have to do this, okay? This is my life, okay? My life is not anything great. Like, to me, I have a very humble life. I know there's been talk about, you know, somebody mentioned one time when I moved in or something that I have a sewing machine, that I have a body double. That thing has been on my body double for 6 months, okay? I haven't finished it, right? But still, it's like, you know, I don't want... that's intrusive, okay? That's intrusive. It's like, you know, you don't base what a person does for their day job based on their hobbies. Now, sometimes you do, because sometimes they go hand in hand. Like, you know, but my hobbies are for my own forms of relaxation, my own enjoyment. You know, I have yarn here, I have paints here. I'm a terrible painter. I have buttons. I have all kinds of little things that, you know, you can stick onto pictures to make pictures or whatever. I do these things for me. It's my hobby, okay? And I'm not sure exactly what they think that by me changing or modifying my behavior, is that supposed to make me closer to them? I will tell you, getting closer to these people is impossible. I will never feel anything for these people at all, okay? Unless, of course, something was wrong with my brain to where, you know, I was dumb enough to overlook the years of abuse, but I'm too smart for that, okay? I'm way too smart for that. I understand. I'm not trying to keep the argument going, but I'm basically saying is that, you know, this wasn't my fault. I refuse to take responsibility for it because I didn't do anything. Okay, I moved here in 2000. I started working. I knew that there was weird things that happened from time to time at different jobs, and then finally when we went over to Karen's hot place and then over to the farmer's place, that's when things became explosive, and it became quite apparent that something really off was going on. And so when I started looking into this, I realized that these people have to be involved, and then any sort of feeling that I had for these people is gone. You know what I mean? It's like if somebody abused you, tried to strip you of everything that you had, took away your career goals, tried to give you something that was, you know, you didn't want, expects you to work a job that you don't care for, modify your habits so that you can work and slave for a job that you don't care about at all, that's of no value to you. If you buy something at a particular store that they don't like, then they want to punish you. Tell me, what benefit would I get out of any of that? I wouldn't. Right? This is abuse, okay? So when you deal with these sort of things, and then you expect people they expect you to want to have some sort of relationship with them, that's ridiculous, okay? I'm getting closer to the end of my life, okay? Meaning, I don't know, I could have 10, I could have 20 years here, and this is what I want to do with my life. This is it right here. Not here. I mean, I don't want to be stuck with my son for the rest of my life, okay? But I do want to, you know, be able to be independent. You know, I don't want to have to rely on other people. And that's not, I never wanted that. You know what I mean? I think everybody has their beliefs, everybody has their family morals. My personal belief all my life has been that a woman should work. a woman should work, okay? Even if it's just part-time, even if she's got a rich husband or whatever, if something happens to her husband and he decides he wants to fight her in court for alimony, or if something happens to her, whatever, she needs to be able to take care of herself. And I knew this. I knew this. Now, in the beginning, when I was married, or when I thought I was married or whatever, I figured I was going to work till I got retired to retire in age, and that was it. That's what I thought. You know what I mean? But things have changed, and I know that there's probably some sort of speculation as to, is she seeing somebody? I'm not seeing anybody. I spend most of my days either looking for work or cleaning up, or having an anxiety attack or something along those lines. I'm not seeing anybody, okay? But if I was seeing somebody, which I'm not, the thing is that I noticed that like my ex relationship, somehow that was involved in work. I would never want those sort of, I don't want those things intermingled. I would never want those things intermingled, okay? For legal purposes, okay? For my own protection, all right? I would never want that. So I do resent people imposing their personal views. Some people, it's a religious view that they have, where they feel like, men should be over the woman. That's their choice, if that's what they want to do. But when you pose your religious standards on somebody else, you're violating my rights. Okay? Especially when I was married, which I'm no longer married, thank goodness I'm not. But when I was married, my ex-husband, Joel, and I, remember, we talked about this. And what he and I talked about is completely different than the system that I found myself in. Okay? So I don't want you guys imposing your lifestyles on me, okay? I have, like, you don't like the things that I do, I don't like your lifestyle. I don't believe in it, okay? That's me, okay? And I was never vocal about saying this before. Like, I remember my mom would complain about it, my dad didn't like it, I remember all this stuff. I never was vocal about my personal beliefs on how you guys arranged your household. That was your business, okay? But you tend to think that it's okay to impose your stuff on me. I don't want it. Okay, I've dealt with the trauma for 23 years in a row with stuff, okay? I don't want any more minicide. That's a word that lady used, which I'm not going to be communicating with her anymore, okay? I've decided to cut everyone off. I don't know if she's a legitimate TI or not, and it's unfortunate, but I have to protect me, okay? I can't trust anyone anymore, okay? And unless, of course, I feel like in my heart that, beyond a shadow of a doubt that this person can be trusted, I cannot open up to anyone else anymore, because I have to protect myself. It's for me to prevent me from going into anxiety attacks, to stop slipping into states of depression, all of it. It's like I need complete and total 100% a disassociation. Now, what you guys do behind the scenes, hey, if you want to rearrange another job or something, that's your choice, okay? But I don't want any more song and dance. I don't want it. I don't want song and dance. I don't want people coming in. What is she looking at? What is she wearing? I have the right to wear what I want to work. Okay, as long as it's within a certain guideline, like it's professional, I have every right to wear what I want to work. I don't want people like monitoring me, especially for the reasons that we were doing it. Like, I was divorced, okay, and I felt like people were asking me to explain myself for nothing. I don't have a reason to explain myself, okay, because I felt like it. That's the reasonable explanation, because I felt like it. Just like if a woman decides to paint her car pink, some people like painting the cars pink, and somebody's like, well, how come you didn't paint it blue? Because she felt like it. Doesn't deserve any other explanation, anything other than that. Okay, I don't want political agendas, religious agendas, personal preference. I don't want that. That's not me being selfish. It's basically me saying, when I moved out on my own, I was looking something. I wanted to make my own living. And you guys came in, and then you started creating your issues, and you wanted to jump in on it and all this other stuff, and then you ruined so much for me. And then you want to sit here and chip it down like, well, I want her to do this, I want her to do you understand you don't have the right to sit here and try to make me negotiate something that relates to my life that I didn't ask you to be a part of in the first place? See, this is where you guys go way too far, and this is where the narcissism is just ridiculous. It's out of control. It's out of fucking control. Okay? Like, I just want to go to my job, do my work, and come home. Okay? I don't want any more people who are trying to force me into religion, anybody who's going to try to force me into marriage. I'm divorced, okay? Divorced. All right? I'm not seeing anybody, okay? And if I was seeing somebody, I will tell you what, that issue would be separate from my work, as it should be. I would not approve of anybody having their hands or their hands or being able to manipulate my employment. I just wouldn't, because this is exactly where the abuse starts. It's wrong. There's reasons why this law is on the books. Okay, obviously I've gone through hell having to be associated with you guys, and I'm sorry that I have. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not sorry that I know you guys. That's the truth. Okay, I deal with it every day, from the minute I wake up to the time I go to bed. I am so sorry I was born in that family. Okay, I do not want to meet up with you again in the afterlife. I don't want any more association with you. Period. Okay, changing me is not going to make me closer to you. I will never feel close to you. As a matter of fact, I know when I start to think about you guys and the things that you do, I go into an anxiety attack. I'm disturbed by you. I could not see you face to face ever again. So anyway, I need to air that out. I want to say that. I'm just tired of dealing with these people, and I'm tired of dealing with the frustration of trying to make a living, and then, you know, having to deal with outside intrusion, and then all of this issues relating to bullying and all this other stuff. You know, I'm sad that there's so many people who were unprofessional in this who allowed this to happen. And it's shameful. It's just absolutely shameful. So anyway, back at it, you know. So I've got some things I need to take care of. I would like to find a job. I know we're in the midst of this, like I said, this pandemic here. I have no idea what's going to happen. Okay, and it's fortunate that I got bullied into this situation, and then here comes this pandemic. You know what I mean? So I've been out of work for almost 6 months. Almost 6 months for shit that I shouldn't have done, and for traumatizing reasons, because they were trying to force me back to my ex-husband, who I'm divorced from, who I feel sick to my stomach. All these people have to be, I'm done. I can't deal with them. I cannot deal with it anymore. It's too traumatizing. It has become entirely too traumatic. So anyway, bad behavior from people who try to be quote unquote good Christians. Isn't that interesting? Wrapping up this video. Be back with another video some other time later. Take care. Bye bye.